So there's a slight change in the schedule. So while we wait for Ms. Serene, who will be presenting after we have the next presentation by Mr. Alok P. Nagar, IFS, Joint Secretary at the Ministry of Panchayati Raj. He will be sharing India's experiences with drone mapping and land management. And particularly in the context of India's flagship program, the SVAMITVA, which is making strides in land administration as well. So whenever we're ready, we can have his presentation on.
I'd like to pay my respects to the chair, sir. Good talking to you after a long time. And the informal talks that we had about SVAMITVA implementation from time to time, they were very valuable. And I took them on board. A lot of those things we've adopted. Remember, once we spoke of who's going to be the repository of these records that we are creating. And at that time, we started with Haryana, where Panchayat Raj Department was leading it. But then you said that let the revenue people do that. So going forth from Haryana, that is something that we told all the states, and it has panned out well. Rajasthan and AP are the only two states where the Panchayat Raj Department are the nodes for this scheme. In all other areas, it is the Revenue Department, sir.
Thank you.
So is it okay? Can I start my pitch? Yes, sir.
Very clearly audible, and please continue.
Thank you very much, sir. Just a little background. Why did Panchayat Raj Department get involved with this? We had a request from the state of Maharashtra. Maharashtra, along with Gujarat, have a very good system of property taxation. They have something called a Namuna Art, which is a village property register. And all the properties are listed there, and people are taxed on their properties. There is distinguishing between houses that are new, that are old, that are owned by. Yes. So Maharashtra said that they, along with the Survey of India, in fact, it was Chokalingam sir, who we'll all know. He's been posted at Pune, and and the person from Panchayat Raj was Asim Gupta, the Principal Secretary, Panchayat Raj Maharashtra, who said that, look, we want the panchayats to increase their assessment and then also the realization from property tax. Using Survey of India help, we've developed this technique where the drone flies up, it captures all the parcels based on the tuna lines that have been drawn. And then we have a process through which we carry out ground verification. And finally, we turn it into something called a sanad. Property card, in fact, was their nomenclature in English for what they were creating. And they'd come to us asking that that this is something that is contributing directly to the own source of revenue of the panchayats. And so why don't you help us meet our objective and give us an objective basis for the increase in the assessment. And it sounded delicious to somebody from the north, such as myself, where this thing is unheard of. I mean, wherever I've seen land records, Abadi used to be one big khasra. It was like a black hole. There was no information about the properties that are within. So our minister at the time latched onto the idea, and then we had the Maharashtra Principal Secretary Asim Gupta come and give a presentation here, and everybody felt it was a great idea going forward. But then everybody also thought that land resources were the best people to handle it because it involved land and so on. Those people dragged their feet, and finally, because the idea itself was so good, that it stuck around, and finally, because we had done some initial diligence, I had visited Pune and seen it in operation. So that's how we volunteered to carry it out at our end. And that is how SVAMITVA started. To begin with, our target was only 100,000 villages in the states that already had The Survey of India had done precision leveling. They had CORS network in a lot of these states already. So we chose the midriff, this part, extending from Karnataka through Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, UP, and Uttarakhand, and also parts of Punjab and Rajasthan, their border areas. What also happened at the time is that right after we launched it in 2020, at the height of COVID, even as we reached the month of October, we had been able to make a fair amount of process. We'd already done the complete process in 763 villages, which amounted to, at the time, 1 lakh plus property cards. So on October 11th, I think we carried out our first program where the Prime Minister, he caught on to the idea. And since then, he included it in his Pragati monitoring, because otherwise there is, aside from being a great idea and a big time saver and good use of technology to help out the last person, there was nothing in it for the states. The survey was being done by the Survey of India people. The IEC activity, which was a pittance, compared to the entire scheme, that was the only money going to the state, in addition to some funds for hiring SPMU resources. So the reason that we could make a push with the states is because the Prime Minister's act of including it in the Pragati monitoring. And of course, we had champions everywhere. In UP, I remember the Chairman Board of Revenue at the time, Mr. Trivedi, who was enamored with the idea, and he took it upon himself. And that is where most of our progress has been coming from ever since. And in each of these states, in Madhya Pradesh, likewise, we had a very good champion in the Principal Secretary to the Chief Minister and so on. That is why we could do what we've been able to do. We can go through the slides now. You can move to the next one, please. So the entire scheme cost us, or it's going to cost us less actually, but the financial outlay is that of 566 crores. And that was for 6 lakh villages. Finally, we are having only about 3.5 lakh villages because some states didn't sign up. They said that they've got legacy records, or they said that they don't need the scheme for some reason or the other. I'll be talking about that a little more. So 566 crore is for two major components. One is the CORS network, which is at the rate of 24 lakh per CORS. So 24 multiplied by 560 is the total cost of the continuous operating reference stations. Survey of India had some stations of their own to begin with. So together with those, the total nationwide network is composed of 1,015 continuous operating reference stations. That was the first major component, CORS. The other major component, of course, is the large-scale mapping, in which the drones fly. They carry out their transects in the village in a manner that they capture all the properties that are there in the KML file that has been provided to them. The cost of that to us was at the rate of 4,800 rupees per village. So in 4,800 rupees per village, Survey of India was going to buy the drones, it was going to train their manpower, it was going to hire the jeeps that were going to take the drones to the field, it was going to hire the low-end or workstations and high-end workstations that they needed to convert the information into orthorectified images and subsequently carry out feature extraction, print those maps, give them back to the state, get their feedback on the maps, go back and make corrections, all this at a cost of 4,800 rupees per village. Subsequently, the amount got increased to 6,000. So that is all. And now, as it seems, we'd be able to complete the whole thing in about 450 crores because of the reasons I told you that some states didn't sign up. I can't read all of the bottom bar, but what I can read is the facilitation of monetization of properties and enabling bank loans. This was an important objective. Determination of property tax, that is how we started this out. So in the states where it is already being imposed, which are Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. That's it. In the north, Madhya Pradesh had made a beginning using the data from SVAMITVA, but it has been very patchy and it was put to a stop because there were elections and so on. Reduction in property-related disputes, of course, that is goes without saying. Creation of accurate land records, we are creating 1:500 scale maps of 5 centimeter accuracy, which is what Survey of India tells me is Google Earth Pro accuracy. So you are able to read your number plate and all. That is the kind of resolution that you get. For the villages, for 1 lakh plus villages, I think 1,38,000 villages, the village maps have already been uploaded on a portal that we have called Gram Manchitra. So in Gram Manchitra, as you drill down using your Google Earth, you would know that after a point it gets pixelated and you can't see stuff. But then in the villages where we've already inserted the Abadi maps, you can drill down as deep as you want and you'd be able to see all that there is to see on that scale. It supports in comprehensive village planning. So using the tools of, the kind of tools you see that on Google Earth that are used to make measurements, you can carry out length measurements, width measurements, area measurement, based on which you can have estimation of village roads within the Abadi area, remember, not outside that. So all those estimations can be made. It helps in comprehensive village level planning. That is something that we have a lot to do in because it has not been adopted by a large part of our country in the panchayat. And creation of survey infrastructure, I mentioned that because the continuous operating reference station, these provide now the enability to have 5 centimeter accuracy anywhere in the country. And it is giving us coordinates in X, Y, and Z axis. So it becomes a total replacement for total station survey. This is the implementation process. There is MOU signing. CORS, of course, is not critical to this entire process, but it is a big time saver because otherwise, for every ground control point, there is a cohort of about 20-30 villages that you can cover, and then you need to have another one. Locating that GCP manually using Survey of India fixed points is a very tough exercise. With CORS, you can do it in a matter of minutes. So once that is done, people need to get trained. Abadi area has to be demarcated, which was done by Revenue Department, even in the state of Haryana to begin with. So once that is done, it gives Survey of India the ability to plan their drone transect. So they send it up. These are expensive drones, survey grade drones. The most expensive one with fixed wing costs something like 24 lakhs per piece, and the cheaper ones, which are quadcopters and all, may cost up to 11 to 12 lakh rupees, last time I checked. And these carry out the large scale mapping, and then subsequently these maps have to be, you have to identify all the property parcels, you vectorize this information, and of course, because there is a ground control point involved, so every parcel has geotags, very accurate one. Then there is the inquiry process leading to the production of the final map. The inquiry process by the state after the ground verification, the notice period varies from as little as 10 days in the case of Uttarakhand to as much as 3 months in the case of the state of Punjab. Next slide, please. Tell me if I have to rush, sir. I can go faster, or I can go as slow as you like. So this is the gentleman that I mentioned, top left, Mr. Trivedi. UP is huge. UP has got 90,000 plus villages. UP has got 59,000 GPs. So if we start off on a good footing in Uttar Pradesh, then it's a very Pareto efficient technique and you are pretty sure of, pulling it off everywhere else. So this is the same workflow in pictures. This is the drone I was saying, fixed wing drone, where the rotors can be, they can change their axis, they can be rotated. So it's vertical takeoff and so on. Next slide, please. The CORS network is number 2 here. It is a 3 meter by 3 meter space, and that is provided by the state. The custody and upkeep of all the hardware is the responsibility of Survey of India. I can tell you a little about the progress. Okay, these are the various responsibilities. It is, as a node, it is my job to be the bulldog and to be constantly going after people wherever there is an obstruction. More about the bulldog later. In terms of achievements, we are already past the 3.15 lakh villages mark, where drone flying has been completed. No, I think we've gone too far ahead. And 3,15,000 में से we have been able to turn about 1.3 lakh villages into property cards, and the number of property cards so far is of the order of 2.1 crores. So that is how things stand at present. The states that onboarded themselves were 31 states and UTs. Of these, Sikkim, Tamil Nadu, and Telangana onboarded themselves only for a pilot phase where they did 5 villages each. Then Tamil Nadu said that they have legacy record. Telangana said that they're going to do it themselves. Sikkim said that they have nothing called Abadi areas in their thing. So for that reason, they did not sign up. Others who did not sign up were West Bengal, who said that they have legacy record, Bihar, who said that they have already got the data captured using LiDAR survey done in 2012, and so they don't want to carry out this survey again. Meghalaya didn't sign up, and Nagaland didn't sign up for reasons best known to them. Manipur did sign up and did make some initial progress, but then they've been for 1.5 years. We've not had a single village's progress out there. Hopefully things start looking better now. And we are pushing the property cards directly into the DigiLockers owned by the people. The CORS network is Survey of India property, but there is a huge potential in how people can use it. Along with the SVAMITVA scheme, we also had the drone policy revised twice. Mention must be made of Mr. Ambar Dubey, who was the joint secretary, one of those who were picked up directly from the industry. And so he did an outstanding job. I think the second revision of the drone ecosystem was only because of the experience in SVAMITVA scheme, because this was the first program for which drone survey was being utilized at scale. And for that, I'm grateful to him because it made it possible for drone as a service to become a reality. Employment generation, the drones can be purchased by entities, people can be trained. This is again something that Amber did, that trainings were available, certified trainings for these people to be pilots and co-pilots. Then the, it's not mentioned here, but the geospatial policy got revised, and geospatial policy revision meant that Survey of India could also outsource their feature extraction and the other processes with respect to the maps. So that was also a huge plus, and it made sure that Survey of India didn't have to do everything themselves. They could hive it off as a service. So drone flying as on date stands saturated in the states of Haryana, Uttarakhand, and all those other places that you saw. The ones in green are the ones where the property card preparation is also complete. The ones in blue are those states where the drone data capture is being done and the property card distribution or preparation is in process. So, yes, no, we can go back to that slide. Chhattisgarh, Lakshadweep, Delhi, Andaman, Daman, Diu, Dadra Nagar Haveli, Goa, Puducherry. All these places, the work has been completed for whatever villages information was provided to us. These people have done very good. I mean, this was an opportunity. So wherever people owned this and who went and saw the power of this method, that you just go out there, you've done your mission planning based on the KML file provided to you, and this drone goes up and flies. The large drone does it in about 17 minutes or 20 minutes. It can cover a whole Avadi, fly back to you, and the data is already captured. You run it through a machine that takes about 3-4 hours, where all the images get converted into auto-rectified images. You take it to the high-end workstation, and you can convert one village's data into a feature-extracted map in a matter of 2 days. And then you provide this back to the state. The state people do their ground verification. They assign names of owners to each of these parcels, and they carry out some changes to the boundary. Survey of India incorporates these changes, gives them back to the state, and so on. So there were states that really adopted this and loved it. And so they created systems that were very good. In fact, Madhya Pradesh, among the other practices that are outstanding in the state, one is that from the date of proclamation till the, from the date of drone survey till the date of Adhikar Abhilekh, which is their property card, one should not spend more than 8 months, because if you do that, you have to furnish special reason because your proclamation expires in that time. So that was something outstanding. Maharashtra, of course, were set from the very beginning. Gujarat also for the reason that they were both parts of the Bombay President. Next slide.
How much more do we have, Alok?
We've also been talking to the banks a great deal, mediated by the Department of Financial Services. In fact, the Finance Minister has written to the SLBCs and the National Level Bankers Association asking for property cards to be considered valid for loaning purposes. These are some of the other things that we've done. We've got a map, a 3D map of a village, for using which we can create various kinds of simulations. One big thing that it's going to help us with is to determine the solarization potential of the households. We are in talks with the PM, what's that scheme? Surya Ghar Yojana, how they can adopt this in their workflow, and then using the tool that is being developed, they can have an assessment of the roof area that is available for paneling, and that would mean so much. It would reduce their visitation costs, their validation costs, and so on. So that is something that we have been able to do using this data. Augmenting own source of revenue is, of course, the link to the property tax. Next slide. Vehicle navigability, pretty much in the same way as one does it on Google Earth Pro. The new geospatial policy is mentioned in fine font, the fourth bullet on the big circle on the left side of your screen. So this was also something big that happened in the course of this scheme's implementation. Next slide. So DEM, DTM aa jaane ki wajah se we are being able to do flood modeling and so on. So there have been some great stories, and of course some irony is also on the way. For instance, there's a person who was a beneficiary who, in the first property card distribution, who availed a loan from a bank, and so it was a big deal. And later on, he found out that he got deprived of his ration card because the total ownership of land between him and his dad was beyond a certain threshold, and so they could have just one ration card. But then there are many, many good stories that people are being able to avail loans. And of course, the property tax realization is up by something like 20%. of what it was to begin with. Yeah, Mizoram Rural Bank. The state that is really way ahead of the others in terms of availing loans using SVAMITVA property cards is the state of Madhya Pradesh, because they have a good system also. In Maharashtra and Gujarat, it was never an issue to begin with because people were getting loans even on the strength of their names being there in the Namuna Art, which is the...
Alok, we're done with the substantive portion? Done
Yes,
with the
sir. I'm
yeah.
done, sir.
Right.
Iske baad bas thanks, sir.
Thanks. Thank you.